Rob Dew reporting for Infowars.com on location in Washington, D.C. Behind me is the White House, and you might be wondering why we're standing in front of this fencing here, because usually people are allowed to walk all the way up to the black wrought iron fencing that is around the White House. Well, if you pan over here to the right, Michael, you will see that they still have the stands that they're taking down from the inauguration. So either these were the largest stands in the world, which they were pretty big. I remember seeing pictures of them. Or, as usual, the government works really slow, and there's no incentive to get this out of here. We're 25 days into President Trump's administration, and we still have bandstands blocking his view of the Andrew Jackson statue, which is right over there. He's got an Andrew Jackson painting and an Andrew Jackson statue in his office. So, of course, they wanted to block the view of the big statue. So, who knows? This could be the work of evil government Obama lackeys. Now, why are we here today? We're talking about General Flynn. General Flynn resigned yesterday amid a flurry of controversy. Nobody's telling the same story. Kellyanne Conway was saying one thing, Sean Spicer saying another. People are saying it's because he lied to Mike Pence, but it might be deeper. On the Drudge Report now, they're reporting spies took down Flynn. It was a political assassination. And they actually link, one of the links is to a Washington Free Beacon article. Former Obama officials, loyalists waged secret campaign to oust Flynn. And they, in this article, they specifically mentioned one of Obama's advisors, Ben Rhodes, as one of the guys who was the architect of getting Flynn out, basically leaking information out through the intelligence structure, through the apparatus there, to destabilize what was going on, to basically send the administration running around trying to plug leaks instead of actually doing what they're supposed to do. And a lot of this, people want to think it centers around Russia, but it's not. It centers around Iran. And Flynn had the inside scoop on what really was in the Iran deal, the secret parts that were never made public. And he was planning on making those public. So Obama and his cohorts had to get him out of here. Now, remember, he's on vacation now, but his home office is going to be just 2 miles from this location. So he is still active in what's going on. But we have all these leaks coming out. Nobody knows where they're coming from. Even Trump says the leaks are the biggest thing. He tweeted that out today, that the real story here is the leaks. It's not the fact that Flynn resigned. Now, why did Flynn resign? Did he resign to save face? Did he resign so he could work more behind the scenes? There's also talk that Flynn is working with the new Secretary of State to further keep the relations going with Russia. Now, we saw today one of these black SUVs rode by just now. But we also saw today that Sean Spicer came out and told Russia that they needed to return Crimea to the Ukraine. Is this part of the posturing that is going on with Trump to basically just sort of say, I'm going to be tough with Russia, to let people know that? Or is there something else going on? Now, going back to December 29th was the day that Obama kicked out a bunch of Russian ambassadors. Kicked them out of the country. It was about 35 of them. That's the same day that Flynn made his call to the ambassador to Russia. And at that point, the Russian ambassador said, hey, what are you going to do about these sanctions? And supposedly Flynn said, well, wait, we're just going to see. We have to get into office yet. We're not even in. We're about a month out. Hang tight. And so people are saying that is what amounts to talking about Russian sanctions, when basically the guy brought it up and he said, hey, we gotta wait. The FBI looked at this. There's supposedly secret transcripts and recordings of this meeting, which we haven't seen. So who knows who's telling the truth? Who leaked those transcripts to reporters? Who leaked the fact that Flynn's making all these other calls? Who's leaking the fact that Flynn knows about this Iran deal? There's a lot of leaks going on, and that is the big story. It's not really about Flynn resigning, which I think he did to maybe even pull pressure off of what was going on and all the scrutiny that was going on, and to allow Trump and his administration to continue to work. So it's very interesting to see this all play out. But one thing is for sure, Michael Flynn was the guy who went on Al Jazeera and said, the president's basically funding ISIS, and said it was a deliberate decision to fund these guys. So Flynn is definitely persona non grata to the military-industrial complex, to the shadow state who wants to keep secret wars going, to prop up proxy armies, to fund them with weapons, because that is one of the main businesses here in the United States, is making weapons and funding little bitty armies all around the world to keep proxy wars going. So they obviously don't want to see that end. And even though Trump, of course, seems to be bombing the hell out of ISIS right now with the help of Mattis, it's interesting to see what the effect's going to be of Flynn being dismissed and being forced to resign. Is this a blow to the Trump administration? Yes, it is. Can they come back from it? Yes, they can. Is there still a place for Flynn? I think there's still a lot of people that think General Flynn is a stand-up guy. He's on the side of right. He's on the side of justice. So I do think we are going to see General Flynn in the future. But one thing's for sure, and it's like Trump tweeted out today, the leaks are the issue. Where are the leaks coming from? What part of the intelligence apparatus is leaking all this information? Is it the State Department? Is it the CIA? Is it the NSA? And how's it going to stop? Is it going to take a purge? Will Trump actually have to purge and go in and do this really quickly? Because you can't do this piecemeal. This is something that has to happen quick, because if you leave some people there, they can create even a bigger havoc because they know they're the last one standing, and it's sort of like a no way out situation. So it'll be interesting to see how this happens. This is Rob Dew reporting on location in Washington, D.C. for Infowars.com. Now, tomorrow, we're going to be putting up a live stream of a press conference that's going to be held with Robert Kennedy Jr. and Robert De Niro, along with some other vaccine advocates who are going to be presenting a wager, I believe. It says in their press release that they have some sort of financial sum they want to offer to the American people. So I'm sure it has to do with mercury and vaccines in some way or another. You know, Robert De Niro is very outspoken on mercury and vaccines, and so is Mr. Kennedy. So it'll be interesting to see what the particulars are of this press conference. We will be streaming it live as it happens tomorrow morning on Infowars.com, so be sure and tune in. We will have a red linked article there with the live stream that'll happen before the Alex Jones Show happens, and then I'll be on with Alex to talk about what I saw, and also we'll be doing a interview with Robert Kennedy and Robert De Niro to get more inside of what they basically what their plan is, because we know the mainstream media is going to laugh at them, try to minimize what they have to say, because the mainstream media is run by the pharmaceutical companies. They are funded by these people. They call the shots. And so you're never allowed to see a dissenting viewpoint other than vaccines are safe and effective. So it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. But here we are in front of the White House, in front of more fencing and more barriers, as we see that the whoever's in charge here, I guess this is the Park Service, can't even get the bleachers down within a month here in front of the White House in Washington, D.C. Now, this has been Rob Dew reporting for Infowars.com.